Fuck that. Conor McGregor, you're taking everything I work for, motherfucker. I'm gonna fight your fucking ass. You know what's the real fight? What's the real money fight is me, not these clowns that you already punked at the press conference. Don't no one want to see that. You know you beat them already. That's the easy fight. You want that real shit right here. Hey, and I'm not...
Unfortunately, we can't talk like that on Fox. Congratulations, Nate, on a spectacular victory.
All right, let's talk about UFC 202, the main card. We're going to have to skip over the preliminaries because we didn't see those. But we will talk about the main card. So UFC 202, obviously the big main event, Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz. We'll start from the beginning with Tim Means versus Sabah Homasi. However you pronounce that. Tim Means defeats him with TKO strikes in 2 minutes and 54 seconds in round 2. Wow, that fight was brutal. That one, he would not go down. Sabah, he would not go down, and he got TKO'd on his feet. Yeah. Stood there against the cage, just getting plugged over and over and over again. Tim Means, he's just working himself up, man. He's going to have a great career ahead of him if he keeps crap like that up.
Yeah.
That was just beautiful. He just totally deconstructed that guy and just worked him down to the edge. And he just... That guy, you know, Sabah wouldn't even give up, but seriously, you're pretty much out on your feet up against the cage.
For someone like me who doesn't watch UFC all that often, very casual viewer, this card from top to bottom was laid out perfectly for my taste, and it started off with this fight. Right out the gate, they, you know, caught my interest. I know it's not, you know, booking a match like wrestling, but I was glued from this point on. This was a great fight.
Next, we have Mike Perry versus Hungu Lim Yimyamon.
Lim Man?
Yeah, sorry, not Korean. Very hard to say. So that one was a goddamn.
Oh man,
that was great. So Mike Perry gets a great overhead right, knocks him flat on his face. He Hung Lung Gim or whatever the hell his name is, hits the ground face first. It looks like a knockout, but
I thought the fight, I don't know shit. I thought the fight should have been over then, and fucking Tommy Dreamer doesn't step in, doesn't break it up. I'm like, what the hell? He seems defenseless.
And it just seems like people always complain. That's the thing. People always complain if it's not stopped. If it is stopped too early, let the guys fight. That's what they're there for. Let them fight. Sometimes people can get knocked out of being unconscious. It's happened. They go unconscious and they hit the mat, and by their head hitting the mat, they come back conscious again.
Jeez.
So
it actually seemed like the limb guy was about to do that. He starts kind of coming forth, and you're like, see, this is why you don't stop the fight. And then
then he got a left hand, dropped like a sack of bricks.
Then it gets stopped.
Then finally Dreamer stepped in there. We're talking about Big John McCarthy, of course, but Tommy Dreamer, we'll call him Dreamer for this one. So Dreamer finally steps in and does stop the fight. So TKO strikes at 3:38 in round 1. Next is Donald Cerrone versus Rick Story. Donald Cerrone, the hardest working man in UFC, basically. Fights every 2 minutes. The guy never stops. Hopefully he'll get a title shot after this. He's definitely moving up the ranks. He just gets this bump in the road every time. He starts plowing through guys. Rick Story's a contender. Cerrone destroys him, TKO, 2 minutes and 2 seconds in round 2. He even took Rick Story to the ground. Rick Story's a wrestler. Donald Cerrone is a Muay Thai striker.
Jeez.
With some some jiu-jitsu. But other than that, he takes Rick Story to the ground, which was hilarious. That was fantastic. He totally just shoved that shit right in Rick Story's face. You're a wrestler? Yeah, you're a wrestler? I'll take you down. And so he took him down in round 1 and worked him. And then just when they got to the feet, the length, the reach advantage, Rick Story, being a wrestler, he's very square, he's very flat-footed because he's ready for a shoot. Mm-hmm. And he just got picked apart, just beat to hell. And that was great. I hope Donald Cerrone keeps up with the work, and I want to see him in a title fight pretty soon. And then we have Anthony Rumble Johnson versus Glover Teixeira.
Woo!
Wow.
Yeah.
Nothing much to say about this. Our talk about it is going to be longer than the fight.
Yeah, pretty much.
So an uppercut in 13 seconds, and just Teixeira just drops like a sack of shit.
Yeah, I wasn't even paying attention. I think I was sipping my beer or something, and then we had to rewind. I was like, wait, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, seriously. Rumble Johnson gets now his title shot against DC, which he already fought DC once. clubbed the shit out of DC in the beginning and knocked DC's Daniel Cormier. Knocked Daniel Cormier fucking across the ring in the beginning. If you listen to one of Austin podcasts when he's talking to Daniel Cormier about that shit, yeah, he's like, holy fuck. Guy hits like a truck. So I bet this time around, Anthony Johnson looks like he's ready. He's
ready to fight.
Yeah, he's gonna work really hard on that wrestling. And he's gonna defend everything he can. Fucking 8-week fight camp for 13 seconds of a fight, but I'm sure he probably won knockout of the night.
Yeah.
That's a nice bonus, especially how the purses were for the night.
Right.
Because then we go to the Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz, the Stockton boy versus the Irish idiot.
So, as a casual... Irish idiot. As a casual viewer, I know of McGregor because he's a talker.
Right.
Typically, that's who I would pull for. However, being a wrestling fan, he got me hook, line, and sinker. He plays the part of a heel and talks shit on wrestlers, and so I was ready for him to fucking get knocked out, and I'm into this fight. And that's exactly, he fucking talked me into it, and as a casual person where I'm like, dude, I hope you get your ass beat, and he played his part well.
Out of all the fights on the card, all of them ended at no later than the second round. Mm-hmm. And the one fight no one thought would ever go the distance goes the distance. So we get a majority decision for McGregor, 48-47, 47-47, 48-47. I'd really go with the guy that went 47-47. I thought it was a draw. Mm-hmm. That fight, the first round and even the beginning of the second round, McGregor was just dominating like he did the last fight.
Yeah.
Diaz just starts out slow. He doesn't... the bullshit he said before in the last fight.
If I'm not in the best shape, I got to start slow and pick up as I go. So I kind of expected it to go like it did. I expected to dodge and slip a little more. I didn't have a lot of sparring for this camp. Like, if I had a full camp, I don't think I would have been touched. But he had some good punches and he landed them, so it was good on his part.
I was like, bullshit. There's a reason why you bleed when the wind comes through. Because your scar tissue's so fucking thin. And you just bleed so easily.
Well, you had to calm me down a little bit because I was like, oh, fuck, he's getting his ass kicked. And you're like, wow, this is the same thing that happened in the last fight.
This is what he always does. He always gets his ass kicked in the beginning. Unless the guy is just really flat-footed and he can just pick him apart. It always happens. Is the Diaz brothers style. They talk shit, and they let the guy get tired. They basically it's like the Homer Simpson thing. When Homer Simpson was boxing, he just he wore out the guys and beat them by just letting them beat the shit out of them.
Great reference.
That's basically how it went down. But McGregor, he's packed on a lot of weight for this. He doesn't have the endurance or the stamina for this weight.
Yeah, Diaz was kind of calling him out a little bit on it. When he was walking around, I was surprised he was walking around with his hands on his waist.
Right.
I feel like that's a big no-no.
There's, to me, the thing with this is that McGregor might be happy that he got the win for this in decision. Mm-hmm. But if you look back at this fight, he doesn't look very good in this fight because he is basically almost running away. He's on his bike the whole way,
right?
Just jogging around the octagon, just trying to make distance between him and Diaz. Because he knows if Diaz puts the pressure on him, he's going to collapse.
Right.
So he's kind of just trying to make distance, and he's just jogging. And there's a great video of, and I can't remember who the fighters were, but you can probably just type it in. There's a great video where one guy does try doing that, tries running away, and it was in WEC. And then this other fighter just freaking runs after him, just kicks him in the head while he was running away. It was fantastic.
I was waiting for that to happen. I was kind of waiting for Diaz to stop talking shit about him and actually realize, okay, he's trying to catch his breath and don't let him catch his breath. You know, like go in there a little bit more.
The aggression factor, I don't know if Diaz was actually feeling some of the weight of the punches on him or not.
Could be those kicks. That was strategy.
The kicks, goddamn.
So
people forget about kicks. When it comes to low kicks, just look back at Forrest Griffin versus Rampage Jackson. Forrest Griffin beat a guy he should never have beaten just with leg kicks. Mm-hmm. People collapse like a motherfucker from leg kicks. And that just shows the strategy, especially those guys that are heavy-footed and they lean on that front leg. And those kicks will just wear you down.
Yeah.
Uriah Faber versus Jose Aldo or Jose Aldo. Look that up. Look at Uriah Faber's leg after that fight. Looks like a 2x4 just beat the hell out of him. By the end of that fight, by the 5th round of that fight, that little Asian guy had to carry Uriah Faber to the corner. That's how bad leg kicks can work.
Yeah, and it seemed like that at least helped him. Maybe that's why Diaz was kind of pulling back a little bit. He wanted a breather himself.
Yeah, he may just try to get some of the pressure off his leg a little bit. Yeah, some of the pressure on his leg, it definitely probably fucked him up, so he didn't run after him. That was kind of his fault. Or he just felt more on the humiliation side of McGregor and just wanted to point at him and shit.
Yeah, could
Talk
be.
shit. I don't know. It was kind of a weird thing. Yeah, but I would have went a tie. To me, it was a tie. This fight didn't really have an overwhelming winner at all. Mm-hmm. Usually they say you got to beat the champion to win the fight in the decision. McGregor is a champion, but of 145, so I hope that kind of thinking didn't go into this one. Or because he's not the champion of 170. Mm-hmm. He's the champion of 145.
Right.
So I hope the beat the champ kind of concept didn't have a factor in this. And I know Diaz looked like shit because he's bleeding all over the place, but by now any judge or anybody should realize a good wind makes this guy bleed. So there's no reason to freaking start judging him on how much he's bleeding, because the guy gets hit in the face, he's going to start bleeding.
Right.
So you can't knock him down on that one every time, because by now you should know. The dude has scar tissue, just such, his facial scar tissue is just so bad. It's just, so he just bleeds so easily. I don't know. So they wanted to give him a majority decision, 48-47. Now they're talking about the rubber match, you know, for the third bout. From what I was just reading, it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. Pretty much Dana White's giving him an ultimatum, giving McGregor an ultimatum. You have to defend your 145 title against Jose Aldo, or you're going to get stripped of it. It doesn't seem like they're going to have this fight anytime soon, because he's probably going to want to keep his title.
Yeah.
And if the fight does happen again, McGregor says he's going to go to 155, and Diaz is going to have to come down to 155. They're not going to meet at 170 again. He said he proved himself at 170. Now let's see Diaz prove himself at 155. Mm-hmm. That would be a more interesting fight, because you can tell that at that weight at 170, McGregor just does not have the endurance or the stamina for it. You take off the fucking 15 pounds. Wow, yeah, he'd probably move a lot better, so that would be a much more interesting fight. Same with Diaz, he'd move a lot better. Mm-hmm. Not carrying around all that weight. So, we'll hopefully see that sometime again. It was a good fight. Definitely not fight of the year. Some people were talking about fight of the year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, It's not fight of the year, but it's a good fight. I do appreciate it.
Oh, it was my one fight I watched of the year.
Yeah. It was a dog fight. It was bloody.
Yeah, and it's too bad, we won't get the rubber match right around the corner, because I enjoyed the kind of promos at the end, if that's what you call it, the interviews with Joe Rogan. Talking. Yeah, and they were selling it already. They're like, yeah, we're ready to go.
Rubber match, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised Dana White's not more pushing for that, because the UFC makes money. Then you hear about the purses on these guys, both probably getting $5 to $6 million for this fight.
Jeez.
Wow. Yeah. You know everybody on this card, because of all the knockouts and how good it was. Everybody on this card got paid very, very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell. All right, well, that concludes our UFC 202 main card breakdown. Thanks again for listening or viewing us. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube page at Comic Movie Marks, and make sure you like us and review us and love us on iTunes or any Android-supported podcast app.
Yes, and please be sure to follow us on all social media. We are at Comic Movie Marks on Facebook, Twitter, and the Instagram.